Welcome to the Dementia Hero podcast, where we turn the chaos of caregiving into confidence, compassion, and joy. I'm your host, Amy Moorhead, a nurse practitioner, dementia educator, and former full-time caregiver. And I know firsthand how devastating this disease can be, how it can shake your world, steal your sense of self, and leave you wondering if life is ever going to feel normal again. But you know, I've also been on the other side. I've walked this road, and I now have a map to guide you through it. You don't have to lose yourself in this journey. So take a deep breath, grab a cup of coffee, and let's walk this journey together. Because you, my friend, are a dementia hero. Let's get started. All right, dementia heroes, welcome back. Today, I want you to picture something for me. Have you ever seen the Men in Black movies? Some of you have already heard me use this analogy. But there's a part in the movies where they have this black pen, right? And they click it in your face and erase your memories of what you just now experienced. I want to do that to you with your memory of what the word dementia means. So I'm going to do the blinky thing. I want you to erase that memory. I want a clean slate here. Because when we hear that word, what do we think of? I'll tell you what we think of. We think of memory loss. We think of confusion. We think of the loony bin. We think of what Hollywood depicts it as, which is always so sad. An elderly lady sitting alone in a room, staring out blankly out a window. I wish they wouldn't depict dementia this way. But what if I told you that's not the best way to understand dementia? What if I told you that dementia is really brain failure? Yep, that's right, brain failure. Now, before you panic, let's break this down together in a way that actually makes sense, in a way that helps us be better caregivers. So let's start fresh. Let's pretend that you've never heard the word dementia before. Instead, let's compare it to something that we do understand or we have heard of, heart failure. When someone has heart failure, what do we know? Well, we know the heart is struggling to do its job of pumping blood. We don't expect the person to just, quote unquote, just try harder or, quote, snap out of it. I'm doing air quotes as if you can see me, to just snap out of it, you know. We know their heart isn't working the way it should, so we adjust. We help them move slower. We modify their diet. We support them with medication and different care techniques, right? So let's now apply the same logic to the brain. Dementia is brain failure. And what does the brain control? Well, everything. The way we think, the way we talk, the way we move, the way we experience the whole world. So when the brain starts failing, it's not just memory that's affected. It's everything the brain does, little by little, piece by piece. Let me give you a few real life examples here. Word finding difficulties. So early on in the disease and dementia, say I'm the one with dementia here. I'm going to miss one in every 4 words early on. And these words are going to be content nouns, the words in a sentence that give the sentence meaning. So here's an example. Can you hand me it's over by the thing? What? You want me to do what? And you're confused on what I want you to grab. But I think my brain thought the thought, but my mouth didn't speak the word. And now I'm confused on why you don't know what I just now said. So we've got this frustration between the two of us right quick. Or, can you grab me some while you're at while you're out, because we're out? And that sentence makes no sense at all. As a caregiver, I wouldn't know what you just now said. And so then you might say to me, I have no idea what you just now said. And my brain produced the language I thought my mouth was producing, but it didn't happen. And now I'm frustrated that you don't know what I just now said. And then you might say, you make no sense. Oh my goodness, I'm just trying to go to the grocery and you're making no sense. And then we're both getting frustrated here. But then who's the one with a healthy brain? You are. I have a failing brain. If I want you to picture something for me in your mind. I want you to picture your left hand has a healthy grape in it, a grape you just picked out of the refrigerator, you put in your palm, okay? You got a healthy grape. In your other hand, you've got a shriveled up raisin. So you left hand grape, right hand raisin. So the grape in your left hand is a healthy brain. It's plump, it's juicy, it's colorful, it's a green grape. And then the shriveled up raisin in your right hand is an Alzheimer's brain. It's dry, it's dark in color, it's not juicy. So if you could look at me and my skull is a third of a size of what other typical folks are, well, you'd be able to look at me and be like, that poor thing, she's got half a brain. She does so good with what she has. We would think of it differently. If I would walk around with the skull size so teeny tiny, you would be so proud of what I could do. However, instead, you look at me and my skull's the same size. It's kind of hard to understand that my brain is a third of the size. And then you get disappointed because you expect the same thing out of me because I look the same. I look exactly the same. So you expect the same, and you're disappointed. And when we get disappointed in someone, we show it. So when we shift our way of thinking of, quote unquote, they're losing their memory to, quote, their brain is failing, it actually makes it easier to respond with compassion. We stop expecting them to be the same. We stop correcting them. We stop getting frustrated when they don't remember something that happened 5 minutes ago, because we wouldn't expect a failing heart to start pumping correctly again, right? Here's another way. So my oldest son, my Matthew, he's not a biology anatomy type guy. He's more of an IT computer guy. So if I were, explaining this to him, and he lived through this journey with all of us as well. Let's do a different analogy. Imagine your brain is a computer, a pretty high-tech, state-of-the-art system, right? But now let's say the computer is getting older and suddenly it's glitchy. And I know you all have all dealt with these glitchy computers that aren't doing exactly what you want it to do, So frustrating. So one day the keyboard stops working halfway through typing a sentence. And the next day the mouse drags something you didn't even click on. And some programs open just fine while other ones just spin and freeze. That rainbow wheel, if you all have a Mac or you remember the rainbow wheel of Macs. And then another day the Wi-Fi just randomly shuts off. No matter how hard you try, you just can't connect. And that's what the dementia brain does. It creates these random glitches. So some days my programs are running perfectly well, like my music and motion and social chit chat. I'm able to have a good conversation. But other functions, like me remembering names, finding the right words to say, following a conversation, trying to absorb the content that you're trying to give me through language, it starts breaking down. And it's not intentional. Remember the raisin. Remember my skull that's half the size. It's just the system is failing. So instead of getting frustrated when your loved one can't follow a conversation, think about that computer, think about that raisin, think about that failing heart. It's not that they're trying to ignore you. Their Wi-Fi is down. Communication systems are down. Houston, we have our problem. It's down for the moment. And they're doing the best they can with the processing power they have left. I love analogies because it helps me visualize something in my brain. I can see it. So if we think, executive function is a big function of the frontal lobe of the brain. It is your command center. It is your Houston center. It is your air traffic controller. It's your air traffic control tower. So think of a busy airport. In a healthy brain, the command center manages all the incoming and outgoing information, coordinating all your thoughts, actions, decisions effectively. Just like an air traffic controller ensures planes take off and land and navigate without having collisions, right? However, in a brain affected by dementia, the control tower is failing. Signals aren't being received properly. Important instructions, like remembering how to dress or recognize a loved one, may never reach the right part of the brain. And planes, my thoughts, decisions, memories, and actions are misdirected, causing confusion and frustration and even unpredictable behavior. Some planes may circle endlessly. I'm repeating questions. And these behaviors that you're seeing, and it's just a plane circling around and around and around, and it never comes in for a landing. And sometimes they crash into each other. I have these jumbled thoughts. I have these mixed memories of old and new I put together into a new memory that never even happened. Mom, what are you thinking? The system that prioritizes tasks, like deciding which plane should land first, like which task is most important to start in a sequence, that all breaks down, leading to these difficulties in making decisions or switching tasks smoothly. So with all that, I know I've thrown a lot at you. With all that in mind, think of that. Think of the raisin in your right hand. Think of my skull. That poor thing, she's got half a brain. Okay? And she does so good with what she has left. Think about that. What can we do? How can you respond differently as a caregiver? Number one, stop arguing with me. Stop needing to be right. Don't be so bossy. And say, I'm sorry, and actually mean it. Stop seeing me as the problem. Stop seeing me as just a disease. Because I didn't choose this. I was chosen, and it's not a choice I would have ever made. But you do have a choice. You have a healthy brain. You can choose how you respond to me. It's about the relationship. This is all about our relationship and how you make me feel. Because day to day, moment to moment, I may forget the interaction we just now had, what you said, what you did, what I said, what I did. But I'm going to remember the way you made me feel. It's about the relationship. We're both living with dementia. One of us is living with dementia on the inside, and the other is living with dementia on the outside that you have to interact with every day. So give yourself some grace. Stop arguing. Don't focus on what I've lost. Focus on what remains. Like, again, that analogy of half a brain, my skull is shrunk. And if you saw that visually, you would think, wow, She's doing so good with what she has left. That's the way I want you to think about dementia. Wow, they're doing amazing with what they have left to work with. You know, out of 5 families dealing with dementia, 4 are going to fall apart because they don't have the resources to survive the caregiving it takes to get through this disease. But one of the five families are going to pull it together. You, my friend, are one of those 5 because you're here. You're here listening to this podcast. You're here wanting to know what to do differently, how to respond differently, how to show up to your life differently, how to show up to their life differently, and be the hero that they need. That's why you're here, my friend. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. That's it for today, Dementia Heroes. I hope this episode gave you a new way to see this journey, because when we change the way we see dementia, we change the way we respond to it. If this episode helped you, share it with another caregiver who needs a little encouragement today. Remember, you are not alone. You are enough. And you, my friend, are a dementia hero. Until next time, take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, and keep walking this journey one step at a time.